What's good, everybody? We are back here again at Mystic Perp Sports doing another live mock draft in a 12-team PPR league. And of course, we're using FantasyPros live mock draft feature. Today, we're going from the third spot. So let's see who we can get. Let's see how this turns out. All right, everybody, the draft is about to start. Once again, we're going from the third position in today's live mock draft. Let's see how we can do today. Keep in mind, when I do these mock drafts, I come to you pretty much unedited, other than dead space, dead air. I want everyone to see how these drafts truly go. They're not always going to be perfect. They're not always going to be bad. But we're going to see how this one turns out when we pick from the third spot today. So first of all, first pick, Justin Jefferson went. I don't think that's too much of a surprise there. He's going first in a majority of PPR mock drafts that I've done in private, in public sometimes. But he's been the overwhelming number one pick this year. So up next, Jamar Chase went off the board. That's been another likely second pick that comes off the board. I think that makes our choice extremely easy today. We're going to go with the best running back on the board. That's Christian McCaffrey, PPR monster. The only concern is when Elijah Mitchell is healthy. The stats aren't the best, but they're still good. But Elijah Mitchell's never healthy, unfortunately. But we're going to go with McCaffrey, and I love that pick to start the draft. Third overall, Christian McCaffrey. Let's see how the rest of this draft turns out. After we took McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill went off the board, then Cooper Kupp. Surprised Austin Eckler hasn't gone yet. That seems a little bit odd to me, but not really. I mean, we all have our preference. So Tyreek Hill went, then Cooper Kupp went, then CeeDee Lamb went, and then Travis Kelce. That's the earliest that I've seen CeeDee Lamb go in any draft that I've done at all this year. That might be a reach right there. I mean, everyone has their own personal opinion and preference. That might be a reach. Yes, he's the number one in Dallas, but with Kelce still on the board, with Diggs still on the board, with Eckler still on the board, even Amon-Ra I would probably take over CD with my first pick. I don't know that I would do what they did, but hey, everyone has their own team. There's no wrong choice unless it's, just a horrible pick. And that's not a horrible pick, but it is a reach in my opinion. But after CD went, Travis Kelce goes, Stephon Diggs, and then Austin Eckler. Great value for Eckler right there. I think in my last video I said that was the latest that I had seen him drop, and that was the 7th. But in this video you can clearly see that he went 9th. So Eckler in the 9th possibly could end up being the RB1 if McCaffrey doesn't finish that. That's extremely good value for Eckler right there. But after Eckler, we see the sun god himself, Amon-Ra St. Brown, go off the board at number 10. Right after Amon-Ra, Tony Pollard goes flying off the board with pick 11. Saquon Barkley still on the board, as FantasyPros suggests up there in the corner. Bijan Robinson still on the board. So, looks like Bijan's going to slip to the second round, which I have not seen happen ever to this point in any mock drafts. Devontae Adams goes right after Saquon Barkley. Bijan's still on the board, and there he goes. So Team 11 ends up with Tony Pollard and a Bijan Robinson back-to-back draft. Pretty solid. I feel like that could have also happened the other way around. Bijan could have went 11th, and then turning around, turn the pick back to this guy, and then he takes Tony Pollard. It probably could have ended up the same, but obviously they went the way that they went. And I think they got great value with Bijan in the next round. After Bijan, A.J. Brown goes off the board. Then we have Garrett Wilson go off the board. So Team 10 has Amon-Ra and A.J. And then Austin Eckler and Garrett Wilson is the team for Team 9 right now. You really can't go wrong with building a team in these first two rounds. Like I said, unless you have just a stupid draft pick. And that would be, I don't know, you want to take Kenneth Walker in the second round. Like, that's stupid. He has good value. I would be happy to have him on my team, but in the second round, absolutely no way. After Garrett Wilson, Nick Chubb then goes. So Stephon Diggs and Nick Chubb is the team 8 right now. Again, everyone's looking pretty solid to start. So after Nick Chubb, we see Jalen Waddle go off the board to the team with Kelsey. Then we see Derrick Henry go off to the team for the team that has CeeDee Lamb. So they have a CeeDee and Henry start. And then after Derrick Henry, the Cooper Kupp team then selects Mark Andrews with their pick. So they go tight end in the second. After Mark Andrews, Chris Olave goes off the board. We are up next. I'm going to probably want the best receiver here because I'm confident we can still get an elite quarterback in the next turn, and that's what I want on the next turn. But depending on who's available, we can kind of switch it up. So I think any of these guys will make it to my next pick. I'd be happy with them. But at this point, I'll just go with either Mahomes or Hurts, and I'll go Mahomes right now. It might be a little early, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Pairing Mahomes with McCaffrey, I like that. Like I said, could have gone Allen, could have gone Hurts. Any of those would have been a great pick at that point. So we take Mahomes, and then we are up again in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. So with the next pick that I'm going to use, I'm not going to go tight end yet. TJ Hawkinson is hurt, aka hurt. I don't really know how hurt. I know there's contract negotiations going on. With our next pick, I would love to take T. Higgins if he makes it, but I would take Ridley, Higgins. In this order, I would take Higgins, then Ridley, and then maybe one of these guys. But if Josh Jacobs is still available, I might have to do that, even though I don't really want to. But again, maybe not again, but you don't want to keep your eye on one specific player. You want to take who's going to be the best value at the time that you're going, whether it be a receiver, a quarterback, a running back, a tight end. Don't reach. Just take the best value. It'll all work out. The only time that I suggest pigeonholing yourself for one specific position is if you really, really, really need it, or depending on where you're picking, and maybe you know your league a little bit better, than I would, of course. At that point, you might need to take someone that might not be conventional for that point, but that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we're still just trying to have fun. You're going to want players on your team that you want to root for, that you want to watch, that you want to succeed. So yeah, and would you look at that? Going back to our cheat sheets, T. Higgins is still available. I will gladly take T. Higgins at this point. We're going to draft our boy T right there. T. Tiptoe through the window, T. Higgins. We got with our 3rd round pick. So I like the start that we have so far. McCaffrey, Mahomes, and Higgins. Higgins could be a wide receiver 1 on most other teams, but he's sharing the field with Jamar Chase. That caps his volume a bit, but it also helps him. He doesn't have to get doubled routinely. So I really like our start. We'll see how this continues to play out, depending on how the board plays out. But right after we go with T. Higgins, Ramondre Stevenson goes to the team that already had Hill and Olave. So our team's looking all right. I don't know if I would take Olave this early. I'm just not. Something in my gut is telling me yeah, he's going to be good. I don't know if I would spend a 2nd round pick on him. 3rd round, I'd probably be on it, especially if T. Higgins wasn't available. But that's just my gut feeling. What do you all think? Is the 2nd round too early to take Olave? Is it perfectly fine? Does it depend on your build? Let me know. I'm curious because personally, I don't know if I could do it. But everyone has their own perspectives and ways that they can win. After Ramondre, Jalen Hurts goes to the team with Kupp and Mark Andrews. They're looking pretty solid. If Kupp can stay healthy, that's a really good start right there. Then Calvin Ridley goes. Then Josh Allen. Then DK Metcalf. Then Amari Cooper. Then Joe Mixon goes. The Amari Cooper pick, I don't know if I really like that, but it depends on who would have been available at that pick. I don't know if I could have done that at that point. I may have taken one of these running backs if I needed it, or a quarterback if I needed it at that point. I feel like Team 9 here could have made a better decision there. But again, my opinion. But after Amari Cooper goes, we got Joe Mixon go. Deebo Samuel, that's the earliest that I've seen him go in a few of my drafts. Not saying it's a bad pick, but that's just early. earlier than I've seen normally. Najee Harris after Debo, DeAndre Hopkins, and then Christian Watson. He's been flying up the boards too. So as we continue to do these videos, and as we get closer to the start of the regular season for the NFL, I'm starting to see players move up the board pretty rapidly, in my opinion. Christian Watson has been moving up. I've seen Hopkins moving up. Who was another one that I've been seeing? Yeah, Olave I've been seeing going earlier and earlier, but we'll see how it all turns out. You can use a lot of stats to try to make your best decision, but at the end of the day, the best stats in the world, the best situations in the world may not come to fruition. Injuries can happen. Different situations can pop up that no one ever imagined. So at the end of the day, you're going to need a lot of luck to win in fantasy football, but of course you want to nail as much as you can from the draft day one. But we all know once you leave the draft, that's not going to be your team going forward. That's not going to be the team that you're going to go to the championship with. You're going to want to work the waiver wire. You're going to want to be a hawk with that. Get players that are popping off, are about to pop off. You're going to want to work the trades with anyone in your league. Hopefully they're open to making trades. But you can't propose a trade that's clearly one-sided. I mean, no one's going to want to work with you after that. So to get something, you got to give something. So keep that in mind whenever you're trying to make trades. But the draft is obviously the foundation of where we're going to start. But back to where we are drafting right now. After Christian Watson, we had Lamar Jackson go off the board, then Jahmyr Gibbs, then Joe Burrow, then Travis Etienne, and then Aaron Jones. So Team 6, I feel like they got some pretty good value for Aaron Jones right there. Middle of the 4th round. That's the latest I've seen him go in what I've been doing. So they have a decent squad after starting with CeeDee Lamb, which I thought was a little bit of a reach there. CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Calvin Ridley, and Aaron Jones. Could be worse from the 6th spot. It's pretty good. But after Aaron Jones goes, we have Chris Godwin go. I feel like that might be a little early for Godwin. I don't know how things are going to work in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield now being the starter. We'll see how that turns out, but the rest of their team is pretty damn solid. It's pretty damn solid. But after Godwin went, Breece Hall went, and then we are up on the board. I'm going to go with best available receiver. I'm not taking Judy after his injury now. Tight end available, Hawkinson. I mean, he could have a good year. I like it, but I just don't like the injury tag and the contract situation right now. But at the same time, I believe he will suit up. But where we're going right now, I'm going to go with another running back. I don't really like... I'm glad that went in. I don't really like the receiver depth at that point. I feel like we can take a better one down the road for the value. But we're up again. Then Jerry Jeudy went. That guy might be on auto pick. I guess that's what AP means. Drake London, Justin Fields, Hawkinson, and we are up again. So Hawkinson's gone. We could probably get one of these tight ends on our next turnaround. I would like the next best available receiver. I feel like Deontay Johnson or Tyler Lockett would be good. I'm going to go with Lockett right now. That might be a little bit of a reach. I'm not sure, but I mean, he gives similar production to DK Metcalf. The rookie JSN is out. Tyler Lockett, you can usually count on him to produce for you week by week. Looking now, though, I took 2 Seattle players. So we'll see how that might work out. But they are the RB1 and the wide receiver 2, of their respective positions. So once again, I do these drafts straight up. I don't want to curate a perfect draft. I don't want to curate, some fake image of a draft. We're going to do it how it comes. We're play it as it lies, as Happy Gilmore, as it would be in Happy Gilmore. We're play it as it lies. So what you see is what you get. I still like the team. I'm still a fan of what we have so far. I think McCaffrey, Mahomes, T. Higgins, Kenneth Walker, and Tyler Lockett is a pretty good start. Maybe could have gone Deontay Johnson instead of Tyler Lockett just to avoid the double Seattle thing right here. That's very valid. Let me know in the comments if you think maybe I should have went with Deontay there or maybe someone else. But I'm not really too upset with it. He may have lasted till the next pick, but with our wide receiver kind of lack of depth right now, I wanted to get someone. Maybe I could have gone Deontay, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But after we go with Tyler Lockett, Justin Herbert goes, Miles Sanders, Brandon Ayuk, and then DJ Moore. I'm not drafting DJ Moore this year. I will pivot if it comes down to it. I can't trust Chicago receivers. It's not his fault. I can't trust that situation. I can't trust the receiving corps. I don't really want to take any backfield players over there either. I mean, we'll see what happens when the time comes, but I'm not too interested in it at this point. The only player that I think I would be interested in taking would be Justin Fields, but we don't need him because we have Patrick Mahomes. We'll pick up a quarterback, week 10 to stream in place of Patty. Maybe down the road here in this draft, if it works out, I can draft Anthony Richardson as a backup quarterback. I don't typically draft backup quarterbacks, but depending on the value, he could be definitely worth it. But after DJ Moore, we have Dameon Pierce go off the board. Then we have Trevor Lawrence. Then we have Terry McLaurin with his turf toe injury. Does anybody have a stack yet? So we have Jefferson, Keenan Allen, no stack there, no quarterback here. I don't have a stack. No stack there. Jalen Hurts, no stack there. No quarterback here. No stack here because they don't have Diggs. Joe Burrow, they have Diggs. They don't have Chase or Higgins like me. No stack here right now. No one to put with Lawrence. That would have been the Ridley team over here. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a stack on his squad. No quarterback has been taken for 11, and no quarterback has been taken for 12. So nobody has a stack at this point. And a stack isn't something that I aim for, but let's say I took Devontae Smith with my second pick, and then I wrapped around and took Jalen Hurts. I'd be more than happy to do that. I just didn't do that this time around. But I'm not going to specifically fish out stacks. But if it works, it works. But after McLaurin went, Brandon Cooks went, Deontay Johnson went, then Darren Waller. So with our next pick, I would love to take a tight end. Hopefully Dallas Goedert is available. Maybe George Kittle will be available. But we'll have to see what happens when that time comes. But after Waller, we had J.K. Dobbins go off the board, who I'm not drafting this year. It feels like it's always something with him. I hope he stays healthy, but I can't do it, especially in the 6th round. Maybe I'm crazy. Am I crazy? Let me know. I'm not going to do it, though. I'm not going to do it. But after J.K. Dobbins, then we have Alexander Madison go. Then George Kittle flies off the board. So Kittle is out of the equation for our tight end position. We'll see if Dallas Goedert makes it. Who do we have available? Kyle Pitts, I think, is still there. I don't know if I would really want to do it. I'd rather have Goddard over the available options. But if a good tight end isn't available, I will take probably another receiver to flex out. But we'll see what happens. So Kittle, James Conner, Mike Williams, and then this guy took Njoku. That's crazy. That could be a league losing pick right there. If he doesn't produce this year, or if he can't find a replacement for that pick, that's a horrible pick in my opinion. I would never do that. Cam Akers, Rachaad White. Up next, 6.10. I've said it. I'll say it again. He's available. I'm going to take Dallas Goedert. I like his upside this year if he can stay healthy. I'm going with it. Looks like we have a couple people on auto pick just after us. So they think I reach for that. I don't care what they say. Kamara goes, Kyle Pitts goes, James Cook goes, Deshaun Watson goes. So their quarterback is Watson. We're up next. Let's take the best available that we can get. I think in terms of production and using as a flex spot, I think Christian Kirk is a good value pick right here. If he's not going to end up as the one, he's going to be the number 2. And I don't think he's going to be 1 because Calvin Ridley's there. But the number 2 in the Jacksonville offense with Trevor Lawrence throwing it, I'm more than happy with that. I am more than happy with that. I'm pretty happy with our start thus far. We have Mahomes, McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, T. Higgins, Tyler Lockett, Dallas Goedert, and Christian Kirk. The only question mark that I have for myself so far is the Lockett pick. Still, maybe should have went Deontay, maybe should have went someone else, but I'm starting to come around to Tyler Lockett more and more. And you got to pick who you want to pick, man. It's fantasy football. Don't just go with the trends all the time. Don't pick someone because experts and consensus say it, unless you kind of believe it too. It's no fun drafting another team based on other people's picks. Like, pick your own team. Be happy with your own team. You have to do your due diligence, of course, but don't solely rely on projections, on tiers, on rankings, any of that. Take it into consideration, but don't solely rely on it. But after we took Kirk, Hollywood Brown, Michael Pittman, Kirk Cousins. Damn, that's super early too. So this guy, team 6, took Njoku and then Cousins in round 6 and then round 7. I think those are losing picks. Who's available at quarterback that they could have taken? I would have taken Tua over Kirk. Maybe Dak over Kirk. Maybe Geno Smith over Kirk. And there's nothing wrong with Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins, but I'm not taking him that early unless I had Justin Jefferson possibly. And even at that point, I still don't like how that is. I don't like taking him in the 7th round. Again, personal opinion though. But moving on, Javonte Williams goes with 707. DeAndre Swift comes right after that. And then we have Mike Evans go off the board. After Mike Evans came off the board, Jahan Dotson goes, Khalil Herbert, then Dak Prescott, Monty, David Montgomery, Jordan Addison with the 802. Love that pick for Addison right there. Love that value for Addison. If he's not the number 2 behind Jefferson in the receiving corps, he'll be number 3. We'll see what KJ Osborne is up to though this year. Pacheco after Addison, Dalvin Cook, George Pickens, Antonio Gibson. I feel like that's pretty good value for George Pickens right there too. And that's the dude's 3rd receiver. Pickens as a 3rd receiver is pretty solid in my opinion. But after Pickens, Antonio Gibson goes, if I didn't already mention that, Jacoby Myers, and then A.J. Dillon right after that. I had Dillon last year on my team, and I also had Aaron Jones on my team. And that was kind of a nightmare to deal with. I ended up trading away Dillon as part of a package to get Jalen Hurts, which I loved. I appreciated that. But I'm not taking Dillon if I have Jones again, which I don't have Jones. But that was just a nightmare backfield to kind of deal with last year when you own them both. We're up next. Who do we have? What do we need? Where do we go? I would take Jackson Smith, but that would be 3 Seattle players. I would take Charbonnet. That'd be 3 Seattle players. I think at this point in the draft, I'm happy to take a swing at Michael Thomas as a receiver, just in case. He can also be a flex or a replacement. But after we took Thomas, Brian Robinson goes, P. Ryan, Zach Charbonnet, and then Jerick McKinnon. So at this point, looking at our team, we have 4 receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 tight end and 1 quarterback. I think we should slam receiver here. I love JSN, but I can't do it. Cortland Sutton, I don't know if I can do it. I'll take Juju right now. The only reason I can't take Sutton is because even with the Judy injury, I don't think he still gets involved enough. Last year, yes, it was last year under a different coaching staff. I had him last year, and he continually let me down. And when you're exposed to players who constantly let you down, you're just so not on board with drafting them again, even if it could be the wrong decision. But that's my opinion. That's my preference. I hope Judy recovers quickly, but I don't know if Cortland Sutton is going to, have a bunch of volume due to that. Now they might lean more on other options in their offense, but I could be dead wrong on that too. But after we took Juju, then goes JSN, who again I would have loved to take, but I have 2 Seattle options already. I can't take a 3rd. Jamal Williams goes, Tank Bigsby. That's pretty early for Bigsby that I've been seeing on the draft boards too, but I like the pick. I don't know if I like it that early, but I like the pick. Rashad Penny goes after Bigsby. And then we see Cortland Sutton go off the board at the 908. That's not horrible value for him. But as a wide receiver 4, It's okay, but still, like I said, I was exposed to him last year. I don't like it. I wish him luck this year, though. But after Cortland Sutton, we have Jalen Warren go off the board. We know Mike Tomlin likes to ride his number ones and keep them number ones, and that would be Najee Harris. So Jalen Warren might get some exposure here and there. I just don't think he's going to be worth that early of a pick unless something happens to Najee or if there's a coaching change. But I'd be happy with him later on in the draft, but I think at that point it might be a little early. But broken record, personal preference. But after Warren, we see Treylon Burks go off the board, Daniel Jones, Damian Harris, Elijah Moore, and then Quentin Johnston. I feel like that's some pretty good value for Quentin Johnston too. Looking at Team 11 here, I'm liking how they're building their team. They've gone 0 quarterback until round 9 where they took Jones, which you might be able to put some faith in him to be your starter in a 12 team. It's not the worst option, but I like their team. 2 running backs, 3 receivers. Might be a little early for Brandon Cooks. J.K. Dobbins not the big fan of. Khalil Herbert might be okay. Not a big fan of the backfield though. But Jordan Addison and then Quentin Johnston as well as rookie receiver flyers later on in the draft. They might have some upside to their team right there. But after Quentin Johnston, then we have Zay Flowers. Speaking of, Sky Moore, Evan Ingram, Rashad Bateman. Bateman is another person I'm not touching. He was also a part of a trade that I made last year, and he ended up just floundering, getting hurt, not being productive. I had to just cut ties with that. So hopefully he does stay healthy, but I'm not drafting him either. Nico Collins, the rookie running back out of Miami, Devon Achane, even though he's hurt. Pratt Freiermuth, we are up again. We should probably take a running back at this point because we only have the 2. We just need some depth. Who at running back is available? I've done this in a couple of my drafts. I've taken Tyler Algier in a lot of them. I think I'll switch it up right now. I'll go with Zeke just in case. Maybe he gets some decent goal line work. So I have a couple week 11 buys down here, but they're all replacements for everyone above me. But after we took Zeke, Kadarius Toney goes, then Romeo Doubs. So we're up again. I'm going to take a swing on Kenneth Gainwell right now. Just, the depth charts are showing him as high priority. So I know it's preseason. They could be, just bull crap. But I'm going to take a chance at this point in the draft on Kenneth Gainwell with one of my later end picks. So you could do worse than that, in my opinion. After Gainwell, we have eternally injured Elijah Mitchell. I wish he'd stay healthy, but it's always something. He's questionable right now for week 1 with a hip issue. Alan Lazard went after Mitchell. Commanders defense went 1106, which is very, very early. This person, they just by the looks of it, this team, they started off decently strong and then they progressively got worse with reaching for picks, in my opinion. But hey, they like that team. They think that team can push them forward. More power to them. I'd be happy to play you any week, buddy. Then we have Devin Singletary go after the Commanders defense, though, and then Dalton Schultz. So Team 8 took back-to-back tight ends, which tells me he's taking a swing. He's banking on one of these 2 being productive, and then he'll probably end up either cutting or trying to trade the other one. But after Schultz, we see Higbee go off the board. Drafted him a few years ago, major letdown, and then he started getting better last year. We'll see how it goes this year. We know Kupp is the number 1 out there. Everyone else is an afterthought. So, if Kupp isn't getting a ton of targets that game, maybe your guy on the Rams will. But we know Kupp gets targets at an incredibly high rate. Then we have Rondale Moore go to the tanking Cardinals. I don't know if they're tanking. They're just not looking good. Gerald Everett, Tua Tagovailoa. That boy, called out Ryan Clark the other day. He said, I'm Samoan. We can get scrappy if you want. Then we have Tyler Algier go. Dallas Cowboys defense, Geno Smith. And we'll see who is going to go with this next pick. I don't know if they're on auto. They're not on auto pick. So they're probably not going to take FantasyPros little suggestion up there. Kendre Miller. Good pick at that point. Maybe I could have taken Kendre Miller with my earlier pick instead of Gainwell, but I'm not too upset about it. He might be decent, you know, when Kamara is suspended. He might get a bigger role when Kamara comes back, or a growing role after Kamara comes back. We'll have to see how that plays out in New Orleans over there. So let's see what the troll team is going to do here, because I feel like they're just messing with people. So they took the Niners defense, which is early for a defense, but I'm really not like too big of a critic of people who take a defense or a kicker around earlier. So yeah, I know it goes against like conventional fantasy wisdom and advice, but sometimes if you feel confident in your team that you've built thus far, which I wouldn't if I was this guy, but if he does feel that way, I'll take a defense and a kicker possibly around early in an effort to get the best ones available possibly, because then you might be able to just count on them week by week. Tyler Boyd goes after Niners defense, D'Onta Foreman, Rashawn Johnson, Chuba Hubbard, and we are up. Can't waste any more time. We already got 15 seconds left to pick. I would like a decent receiver at this point because we've taken running back. So Thielen, Beckham. I'll go with Beckham at this point. It's not my favorite pick, but again, he's a backup right now. I don't like anyone else right there. Chark is injured. Thielen's old. Mooney's part of, Chicago. I'm just not going to do it. Then we have Philly defense, or after us, we have Anthony Richardson go. Maybe I could have done that. Okonkwo, Philly defense, and then the Bills defense. We're up again. Who's the best available for whatever we need? I'll take Tajay Spears. God forbid something happens to Derrick Henry, he's gonna go off. So at this point in the draft, I'll draft upside possible lottery tickets and see where that can maybe take us. But after Tajay Spears that we went with, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've heard it, but I always mess it up. Cole Kmet goes, and then Darnell Mooney goes off the board. After Darnell Mooney, we see Zamir White. Patriots defense, Jerome Ford, Zay Jones, and then the rook, Dalton Kincaid. It's a good dart throw at this point in the draft for him, I'd say. Gus Edwards goes to team 11. If Dobbins isn't healthy, which he may not be, that's a decent pick right there. Dolchich, Tucker, Bass, Jets defense, Butker, CEH, Cordell Patterson, Juwan Johnson, McPherson, Ravens defense. And we are up down to our defense and our kicker picks. I'd rather go for a decent defense here because a kicker will still be there. I'm happy to go with Pittsburgh defense this year. Let's go with them. And then come around to the kicker side. I wanted that boy Young Ho, but he probably got sniped right in front of me. Yup. Of course he did. Bastard. It's okay. It's okay. Whoa. Okay. So, kicker. Take your pick. Maybe you are, wanting to go with someone in the dome. Maybe that doesn't matter to you. I'll go with Jason Sanders. It doesn't really, Sanders or Zerline may have been my pick there, but I feel like we did okay. Let's see what FantasyPros gives us. They like to be stingy. They like to mess with me with these grades sometimes. Let's see what they're thinking. My guess, mid B, low A. I like my team. Let's see what they think, though. C plus? What? Hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. If you guys agree with this ranking and this grade, let me know. If you don't agree, please let me know. Where did I reach? Where should I have taken someone else? Where do you think I did well? There's a couple scenarios here which maybe I wish I did redo. We already have discussed the Tyler Lockett pick. That's one thing that I know that I may have changed up. But please comment. Let me know what your thoughts of this draft were. Please, if you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe to me. We are just getting started on this channel. we have more videos to come. We're going to finish out our draft picks 1 through 12 for our mock drafts. And then we will start getting into other content as the season goes on. So I appreciate everybody watching this video. This is Mystic Perp Sports. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your day or a great rest of your night. And I will catch you on the next video. Peace out.